Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwarah, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Welcome again. So, we have been studying the text Sadhana Panchakam. The goal is to make the entire life a celebration, not celebrating an event. Every time we have to celebrate birthday, we prepare for it, and no doubt we get immense pleasure at the time of the celebration, but after celebration is over, the mind is back to the same stress, duality, conflict, anxiety. So, what our masters have discovered, there are 4 stages of human life with their distinct differences based on natural human needs and desires and drives. So there are 4 stages of the life and 4 sets of desires, drives, and needs. This is how they have thought of it. First stage is the life of education, life of knowledge. Why? Why the first stage is the life of a knowledge? Because we are born with an animal mind. Everyone agrees. We are born with an animal mind. So if we give mind and intellect the right knowledge, it will prepare a foundation for our entire life. So now that knowledge, once we have the right knowledge about ourselves and the right knowledge about our skill through the formal education, we enter a family, professional, and social life. That is the second stage of the life. Second stage of the life, that knowledge is lived. That knowledge is lived in family, professional, and social life. And we have seen those 8 principles, how we have to redefine the pleasure seeking mind, how we should understand that pleasure have an inherent defect, and to have a sufficient control over the ego. Otherwise, if the ego becomes wild, we suffer. So those 8 principles. The third stage of the life is the life of contemplation, reflection, renunciation. Now see that in ancient days, people normally used to live more than 100 years. So that 100 years were divided into 25 years of life of education, 25 years of life of family, professional, and social life. That becomes 50 years. And next 25 years represents the life of contemplation, reflection, and renunciation. What is this life? So there is no condition that everyone has to pass through all the 4 stages of the life. So like Swami Vivekananda, who came to United States long back in 1893, and his famous lecture in Chicago. He became famous, and he was a great guy. He didn't marry, he remained single. So he jumped from the first stage of the life to the third and the fourth stage of the life. We are talking about the third stage of third stage of life, life of contemplation, life of reflection, life of renunciation. What is this? It is good in the modern time to divide these four stages of life every day, 24 hours. How we can live the four stages of life almost every day. That will make the life beautiful. What is the journey of life? It includes time, place, event, action. You see that journey of life, every journey of the life, time, place, event, and action. So, for knowledge, we have spent time. For family, professional, social life, and its activities, that brings what? The wealth, relationship, and peace and happiness in relationship. Third stage of the life is contemplation, reflection, and renunciation of the life beyond the world. And the fourth stage of the life is devoted to purification of the mind, freedom from the mind, liberation, or Cavalier, whatever we say in. Now let us see the scenario. What is the scenario? Normally, we spend 99% of our life in as a family, professional, and social life. Many people say, no, I start meditation, then I leave it. So the moment we leave this, we do not want to change our inner space. And as long as we do not change our inner space, this anxiety, stress, duality, and a conflict will continue. What is this third stage of the life? Contemplation, reflection on the principles and renunciation of what is not desired. We have accumulated certain impressions in our life after living a family, professional, and social life. I know a guy in India, was a wonderful guy, very humble. And the moment his employees used to enter into his office, his entire personality and mannerism changes. He used to become very anxious, always used to show his anger. You see that. One example. So, the life of contemplation, reflection on the principles of Eastern wisdom is very important. Why? Why? Because it constantly purifies the mind, clears the mind, and we understand what is not desired has to be dropped instantly. Sometimes we settle scores with our kids. No, I don't agree with you. Okay, you don't agree, then keep your mind in peace. Same thing happens with our colleagues in the workplace. I hate this guy. There is no need to hate any guy. You see that? There is no need to hate this guy. Just keep your mind cool and calm. It only comes through contemplation. It only comes through reflection. It only comes to know when we filter out. Do I desire to push my kids? No. And that pushing mind, always lives into the anxiety. The same thing happens in the workplace, same thing happens in the relationship. No, just withdraw yourself. My best approach is when I hear anything in this, in my family, professional, and social life, first thing that I withdraw myself completely, I keep quiet. as if I have not heard anything. Then I go back, check the person with whom or the person who said anything. I reflect on it and I make a conscious effort that my mind should not react, should not become upset. The fourth stage of the life is known as sannyasa, that we will take later. We devote the entire life for meditation and freedom. Now, the entire journey of this contemplation and reflection, there are two basic steps that we will take up uh, in the following session. We'll just make you clear, little more clear about the this third stage of the life. That is known as Vanprastha. Now check and observe that the first two stages of the life was a horizontal movement and a development of in our life. Horizontal movement. Why it is a horizontal movement? You marry, you divorce, you marry, it horizontal. You earn $1,000, $10,000, $50,000. It is still a horizontal development of our mind, of our intellect, of our life. I may have one house or 10 homes. Still, it is a horizontal development because it is meant for pleasure seeking. Accumulation of wealth is always mostly for the pleasure seeking. Now, what happens in the third stage of the life? There is a downward movement of the body. Body starts decaying process. So our master says that now that is the right time because you have exhausted all the pleasures, you have tried it, you made an effort, and you are still continuing with those pleasure. Now allow the mind to have a vertical movement. Vertical movement. First horizontal movement is gaining the knowledge. Second horizontal movement is the family, professional, and social life. Now, the third stage of the life, because whatever the experiences I have gained and whatever the knowledge that I have gained, I should lead my life for a vertical movement. And that is what is known as the process of evolution. The concept of Kundalini came from this idea, this concept. But now is the time. Mind should not go outside, mind should remain calm, and that mind should be evolved to discover the higher and the higher states of consciousness. That is the third stage of the life. So, from moving from the lower to the higher is the vertical movement. So, this third stage of the life is a movement from the lower to the higher. Again, check it, the first two stages of the life. There is a birth, we have a growth, we have a maturity in our, some, not many people reaches to that maturity stage. So what our master demands in the third stage of the life, daily contemplation of principles and reflection. Daily contemplation. So I'll take up the principle later. Daily contemplation of principles and reflection means what? I think, recall those principles. I remember and reflect on it, how to apply. And I keep in check my reaction, my hesitation, my anxiety. And after contemplation, I check it. Yesterday I had a moment of anxiety. Why, how, which principle need to be applied, and I drop it. That way, I clear the ground for the higher meditation journey. Higher meditation journey. Now understand why we have this third stage of the life. There are two principles that we will talk, but let me give you a brief. The ninth principle. Huh? The ninth principle is, what is that ninth principle? Seeking companionship with the master or a man of wisdom who is well versed with the teachings of the Eastern wisdom. What is about this? This is about time management. Why we have to seek companionship? For increase in aspiration for freedom and to go into the highest meditation. One very important subject that I always take up with the kids, becoming a good person to myself. In a family, professional, and social life, we have a blame and the complaint game. You are good, you are not good. Now we discover that how should I become a good person to myself first? I contemplate and reflect and take action. The second principle in this life is discover love within by awakening to unconditional love for the real self. If I awaken to unconditional love for within or unconditional love for the real self, what is going to happen? I will start expressing that love, that peace, that happiness in my family, in my profession, in the world around. So we will take up these two principles deeply. We are just understanding the third stage of the life is the life of contemplation, reflection, and renunciation. So when we say renunciation, means I have to drop what is not desired. Do I desire anxiety in my relationship? Do I desire doubt in my relationship? So I contemplate, reflect, and I change my entire mindset so that my mind can evolve further. Let me talk a little brief about this Kundalini. The concept of Kundalini has come that can we move from the lower to the higher nature. So I have to understand what is higher nature, and I have to lift my mind to the higher nature. So, as those masters have started this third stage of the life, what they did, it is known as, I told you, Vanaprasth. It is known as Vanaprasth. Vanaprasth means forest dwellers. They went into the forest and they started checking that now there is no issues with the family, professional, and social life. So let us see how the mind moves. And they realized that mind started a vertical movement. It started evolving in the absence of any blame, complaint, reaction coming from the world around. Now, what happened? So to say, they reached at the top crown. means they reached at the highest state of meditation. Then the beautiful thing happened. That peace and the happiness and the love started descending into his personality, his body, his mind. From there, concept of Kundalini came into existence. Have you heard about ascendants? We talk a lot about ascendants. We talk a lot about descendants. That concept came from these masters who were forest dwellers. They left their family professional life in order to know and evolve much further. There are the group of text, you'll be surprised. Group of text is known as Aranyaka. Aranyaka is another group of text. Aranyaka. Aranyaka is a group of texts. Aranyaka meaning forest. So they devoted their entire life in the forest to understand this journey of life. Last thing today, on a lighter note, we have 4 human interests: desire and enjoyment. Next is material, economic, and other aims. To have a wealth, to have a family and professional life, the needs of the mind and the body. What is the third? Third is that who am I? The idea comes, I have lived my life. So now let me contemplate who am I and how to live that life in peace and happiness. So we are laying a strong foundation for liberation. That is the 4th stage. Now, because the seeker vary in temperament, there are different ways of seeking have been prescribed and objectives are almost different outside in the world. You see that? No, we have a different profession. Sergey has a different profession. David has different. We all follow a different occupation. But what happens? Outer goals may be different, but inner vision and goal is one and the same. Do you see that? Inner goal and the vision is the same. So, how to give importance to that inner vision and the goal? What is that one and only one goal? It is self fulfillment. It is the permanent state of happiness. It is all awakening. It is all that I should have a knowledge of reality that I should be able to experience at every moment in my life. One common goal. Why we want to have a sex or eating pasta or having a big house or accumulating wealth. The inner vision and the goal is the same: happiness, permanent, permanent peace. Outer modes are totally different. So that is why these masters says we should enter into the 3rd stage of the life. The last point, every day, early in the morning, 24/7. That is the right approach. Right approach. First 15 minutes, do nothing. Check the mind where the mind is going. And keep the vision and the goal of life very clear. That is the first thing. Then pick up a single principle. For example, Shreyas and the prayers. And now you allow your mind to think and speak and act with reference to the Shreyas throughout the day. You do it for a week, your attitude will change. That is the life of contemplation and reflection. What is right and good for me? I see a person and my mind says, I hate this guy. Is it right and good for me? I'm hurting myself. Am I hurting myself? Yes. And ultimately, if I express, then what is going to happen? The fight will continue. Can I stop it? Principle of Shreyas. So you pick up a principle and you allow that principle to work in your mind throughout the day. Throughout the day. That is what is the life of third stage of the life. Contemplation, reflection, and renunciation. What is renunciation? Do I desire to hate someone so I'm hurting myself? I'm into anxiety. Let me stop it. Let me drop it. Let me see what is right and good. And after I understand what is right and good, then I see how to express myself living into the same situation, but not influenced by the world people outside. What is going to happen? The mind will remain free inside, it remains calm inside. And then the journey of meditation becomes easy. So let us start our journey of meditation. Just I introduced, and we'll take up that in a deeper way. Next time, eyes are closed. Eyes are closed. Why not? Just allow the mind to think of the Shreyas. What is right and good is chosen over what I like and what is pleasant for me. You see, the entire journey of our life is based either on the Shreyas or on the Prayas, my friend. If the mind maintains awareness of the Shreyas, that mind will not go to prayers, what I like and what is pleasant for me. The mind likes to move the body, mind likes to scratch, mind wants to think even during the meditation. This is the path of the prayers. So you simply become aware of it. Look at it. So you think in the mind. You think in the mind. Path of the Shreyas leads to self-fulfillment. Path of the prayers leads to desire fulfillment. Desires are never fulfilled. That takes my mind outside. So you start your journey of meditation from the highest point. What is going to happen to the lower nature of the mind? They dare not come to your life. You just do it for a week and you will see the result. I normally say this is a knowledge practice. Now, mind facing within, looking within, and the body is steady. Now we enter into the stage one. I'll pick up one principle every time in the following sessions to understand how to apply those principles. The mind is looking inside, facing within. At the same time, you experience the body is steady. In the stage one, we go to the stage two, being comfortable. Now, being comfortable becomes a play and a fun, based on the principles of the Shreyas. What the Shreyas says, what is right and good. What is right and good? To be one-pointed with the step we are doing it. Look at the neck joint, feel the sensation, being comfortable and steadiness. I have gone very deeply into being comfortable. You know it, look at the shoulder joints. shoulder joints and being comfortable, sensation and steadiness. You know what happens? When you follow the path of the Shreyas, the mind becomes subtle. Let us see in the same. Move the mind on the hip joint. Now, hip joint is physical. Physical mind looks at the physical parts. What is your experience? Sensation, being comfortable, and steadiness. Sensation, even though it is a physical mind but deeper. Comfortable, it is a subtler mind that experiences comfort. And the steadiness, it is also the part of the subtler mind. Move the mind on the entire body from the top of the head to the toes, on all the joints, being there, feeling the sensation, being comfortable and steadiness. Stage one, two steps. Third step, being carefree. Now apply the Shreyas and the prayers on being carefree. I don't want to put my mind on anything that is changing thoughts, feelings, sensations, my experiences, they come and go. Whatever is changing cannot bring permanent happiness in me. Weird. Now this is the reflection. So now see that you can create a step. It means become aware of whatever is changing. Let me watch and see whatever is changing is different from me. I gave couple of metaphors, standing across the road, watching the traffic. You know what will happen through the third stage of your life when you contemplate and reflect? I can tell you. And once that happens, you get a click. You will say, oh, that is why these masters are adored and saluted. What is that I'm talking about? You're living in a relationship or at a workplace. You have a relationship with a person, and the person goes into, reacts to you, becomes angry, and you have a smile on the face because of the Shreyas. I know he has never been reacting. Today he reacted. This reaction is nothing but a change. He cannot continue to react the whole of his life. He might have done because he is not able to express himself or herself. You see that? What happens to the mind? Oh, thank you. Very good. You know, first we have to apply that step. And now the last step is in the fourth step. In the stage one is being casual. Existence is always natural. Existence is what Shreyas is. Example, space exists. I gave you last time example. We exist because of the existence. The waves exist because of the existence. What is meditation? To discover that existence. Water exists. Water is existence. Waves exist. Whosoever exists has to go. So when I say I exist, means I'm talking with reference to the body, mind, intellect, ego. They are constantly changing. I'm none of them. And you enter into the state of being casual. And we'll continue our journey with our Purification of the mind. Eyes are closed. Looking inside the rib cage. Body is steady. You have a reference of existence. And start being cheerful. Start breathing quick and short breath from the chest. Let us go a little deeper. Check. The mind is in Shreyas or Prayas. Means what? Continue doing it. Mind doesn't object you. You continue with a quick, short breath. You're looking inside the rib cage. The mind is aware of the Shreyas. What is right and good? If I do it, I'll purify the mind, and that will take me to a higher meditative state. With that idea, with that awareness in the mind, you see that I'm changing completely. Continue being cheerful. You will also come to know that mind in Shreyas can do this kind of a breathing even for 20-30 minutes. I tried it. Used to go to Scottsdale, it used to take me 40 minutes. While driving, I said, no, let me continue with this. With eyes open, and I did it. Not once, but hundreds of times. Can't we do it for a couple of minutes? Who objects? The mind in praise. You see, now you know mind in praise objects, and I will overrule. I will drop it. What is not desired. You see the third stage of the life, that, and you enjoy that. Continue. Continue. Taking short breath with awareness inside the head. In the space, body is steady. Goal, purification of the mind. What is that purification? What is not desired should go. From where it comes? From the prayers. The entire scenario is clear before you. And now stop it. Today we did it for 3 minutes. It's a good start. And now go for a deep, long, silent breathing. First into the belly, then into the ribs, looking deep inside the forehead in the space. And during exhalation, start humming sound, deeper, longer, louder. Continue. The next breath is deeper than the previous one. After a few sessions, you'll be surprised that you only do 2 breaths in a minute. It has a tremendous effect on the brain. So we need not to make any effort, just do it casually. Make sure the next breath is deeper than the previous one. Normally, you will start doing 2 breaths a minute, and that continues even for 3 minutes. A few research studies says that it changes the brain pathways. You enter into a deeper state of relaxation and calmness. I may add, somewhat alpha waves start emanating. Now stop this. Let us go deeper into a sense of what is not desired. Move the mind on the head and the neck. Just be there and experience sensation, relaxation, and stillness. I'll cover deeply when the body is healthy, no complaint. What happens? You feel as if you have transcended the body. I'm simplifying. What about the mind? If the mind is cultured, it is happy, it is pure, can you transcend the mind? Yes. If yes, then you go into a deeper meditation. Look at the scenario. Move the mind on the right arm. Be there, sensation, relaxation, and stillness. This is what the third stage of the life demands from us. It doesn't mean that we are ignoring the body or the mind. Move the mind on the left arm. Sensation, relaxation, and stillness. Chest and the belly. Be there. Feel sensation, relaxation, and stillness. Right leg. Sensation, relaxation, and stillness. The body is in pain, the mind will continue to go there. And then it disturbs the whole process. But if the body is perfectly healthy, relaxed, and steady, have you not transcended the body? Yes. That is why we do this step. Left leg, be there, sensation, relaxation, and stillness, the entire body. You seem to transcend your head, but if you have a headache, no way to transcend. The mind has wandering thoughts, no way to transcend. The mind is outside, craving, no way to transcend. See that? That is why we are doing Nyasa. Little deep, silent, slow breath, and as you inhale, move the mind inside the right arm in the space, either from the shoulder to the fingers or from the fingers to the shoulder. When the breath returns, the mind moves from the other side, inside the right arm. So, what is the space inside? It is the highway. Mind is the driver. Breath is your car that you love and cherish. So, you're moving the mind. You're driving the breath, driving your car inside the right arm on the highway. Continue. Do you see a point? The Master speaks about it. So, whether you say culture the mind, whether you say purify the mind, bring the natural focus, whether you say check consciously the mind is moving within and living within, there are many expressions. But what is the most important point to understand? Move the mind inside the left arm. Most important point, the body is in a perfectly healthy. Perfectly means it is not causing any disturbances. Then what is going to happen? Almost you have transcended the body. You never think of the head until you have a headache. Now apply the same principle to the mind. Mind, I'm meditating. What is not desired is dropped. What is the ultimate result? You're already in meditation. Simple. And the mind moves inside the right leg now. Mind with the breath and the highway inside. The moment you start inhaling, the mind moves inside the right arm, right leg, from the right side of the waist to the toes, from the toes to the right side of the waist. We are almost doing nothing, if you agree with me. And now inside the left leg, continue the journey, please. That is why we move in every stage from the outer world. We ask the mind to face within. Then we say, check how you get disturbed and make sure you are ready and aware not to get disturbed. How simple the principles are. Then, because of the past impressions and the thought pattern, we purify the mind. By humming sound, we move the mind from the lower to the higher nature. And by nyas, we are asking the mind what it looks when you move inside. Move the mind now on the spine from the crown of the head to the tailbone when you inhale. When you exhale, the mind moves from the tailbone to the top of the head. I gave you some idea. We may talk different in a different time. uh, Ascending. When the mind is ascending with the breath, it is known as moving from the lower to the higher nature. But we cannot move the mind entirely to the higher nature if there is no grace from the above. To allow the grace to fall on us, our personal effort should be right, good, for a longer period. So, time comes when you are moving the mind and the breath from the tailbone to the top of the head. You start having a revelation, vision in the colors. I'm not going to tail into the Kundalini. You need not to work on the chakras. If you have a clarity, here it works. So descending means the grace, the blessing. What is descending from the above? That peace, that happiness, that love and the wisdom. One typical experience that you have a fluid mass as if it is descending from the top of the head into the spine and spreading into every cell of the body. And now leave this step, look inside the head and recheck the stage number 4. Any thought pattern, any feeling, any experience comes, superimpose it with Om Shanti. So when you superimpose, that thought is gone, disappears. What is left? The inner space. Be there into the inner space. Dive deeper within. Again the thought comes, Om Shanti. No thought is there. Dive deeper within. Simple, natural way of doing it, my friends. So when we have a right contemplation, reflection, and clear clarity, what is to be dropped and what is not desired. Based on the simple, there are many principles. We talked about it. We'll be talking Shreyas and the Prayas. What is right and good, never changing, everlasting. Water never changes. You may have waves of different sizes. There is something within us that never changes. So the mind and the intellect, when we focus, reflect what is right and good, not only we become good to ourselves, that reflects outside. Here, superimposing. I'm in deliberately using the word superimposing, but that superimposition is not with an effort. I gave you the example, the same example. What's your name? Om Shanti. Where are you going? Om Shanti. Why you are going? Om Shanti. Casually, normally. Thursdays, I'm giving a reflection, then we'll talk in detail in the following sessions. You're living from the day to night, you meet a lot of people, and sometime mind says, I don't like this guy. Your face expression changes. Introduce face. What is right and good? I love every human being. Sometimes you need to force, but what is going to happen? You will never be able to imagine. And now leave that step, last step, breath awareness. 3 point. What are the 3 pointed awareness of the breath? The first, you know the breath is going in and out. You feel the sensation of the breath inside the nose when it goes in and comes out. And the third is no change in the rate and the rhythm of the breath. Body in a perfect state at this time. We already transcended the body. Transcending does not mean it's a wrong notion that we have, does not mean that I'm not aware of it. And do nothing now, remain as you are in the state of doing nothing, my friends. See what happens. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Bring your awareness on the right hand, your awareness on the left hand. Lift your both the palms, place it on your eyes. Open the eyes inside. Bring your hands down. And we will share our experiences. Sergey, what happened?
I feel like I'm still asking my mind to be more calm and do not go anywhere and keep inside and relax. And I feel like the thoughts, I have less thoughts, and
Less.
it's just I'm slowing down. I feel like
Slowing.
I'm slowing down. It's like shutting down for some period. I'm just listening you. Then some thought is coming, like go away and
Wonderful.
shutting down. And that's
Shutting.
kind of
I like it. This is what the third stage is. And third stage can continue at any point of time in your life, not only during the meditation. The first we learn that we should do it in meditation. I'm shutting down, the speeding down the mind, Less thoughts, I become aware. And I say not desired, it goes away. And I experience a different state. Wonderful. That is the way you get a glimpse of it. How are you, my friend Lara? We did little
I,
longer today. Yeah.
I am good. It was it was interesting, and when you were talking at the beginning about the cycles, almost to me is how I was relating it in my mind is kind of this cycle thing. I've actually been studying a lot of cycles lately, like the moon cycle and the seasonal cycle and the life cycle, and this just fits right in with how in different things in our life we're in these different cycles of this constantly and shifting. So what was fascinating for me when we were doing the breathing up and down the spine, I had this circle motion happening for
Yeah.
me, and just
That's
I
a
felt like it was
beautiful.
more rooting
Yeah.
down and coming back up and rooting down and coming back up. So that was
That's
just
a
kind of
deeper
that
experience.
circular.
You have those circular motion, it is exactly the same experience Sergey expressed. So
Right.
Sergey expressed at the level of knowledge, you are experiencing. You have that particular experience leads to the same thing.
Right.
Leads to the same thing. It's a wonderful. You see that ascending and descending. A thought is coming to my mind. Your mind may not, in the beginning, believe it. We always talk of Kundalini moving it from the lower to the higher.
Mhm.
Only 3 and 4 masters rejected this idea. They were great masters. They said, why from the low to the high? Why should not happen from the top to the
Kind
bottom?
of.
And when it happens from the top to the bottom, you are dropping, then descending peace into the entire system. So you are not obsessed with your negativity, your reactivity, your pleasure seeking mind. You throw the water for the full speed to clear the sewer.
Mhm.
Or you take a broom and start scratching and start scratching. It takes long time.
Mhm.
Oh, we'll talk about it. How are you, David and Jerry?
Good. Hi, that was wonderful practice today. I felt, I think, similar to what Sergey and Lara are saying. I really appreciated it. Initially, I closed the eyes. I felt like the mind went in, but then I realized as we got to the humming that I really was deeper. Right, I didn't realize just when I closed the eyes that I was as at the level, like the thoughts started to drop off and the mind really started to quiet. And at the humming after that and during that was a really
Nyasa.
expansive period for me. Yeah. And the nyasa too. Yes. So really, and very little Om Shanti had to be done today. There was very little activity at that point.
Very good. Good. We are picking up the third stage. I'll pick up those principles in the next. Wonderful, David. It's a beauty of doing in when the couple are doing together. It totally changes. There's always a progress is faster. How are you, David?
That was really excellent. I mean, the transition during the humming session, I kind of I was seeing indigo um,
Good.
at the beginning part, and then I kind of had this like shock or something occur during the humming session. Then all of a sudden, for the rest of the practice, I could see an orange yellow, and I was just so deep and so let go.
Yeah.
Our dog was whining like crazy and came up and stuck his head on my lap, and but I just like let it go. So it was very, very freeing and unique. It was the most unique one I've ever had with you.
Oh, so what a wonderful experience. I'll talk in detail it, because otherwise we'll deviate from it. If we start talking about the colors and especially the colors, and sometimes these color pertains to the 5 element. We see the 5 element outside at a physical level. When we see that 5 element at a subtler level that is present within us, that manifests in different colors, and their permutation and combination gives the vision of these colors. So what they show us? They show us that the mind is going deeper. So a particular represents maybe an earth element or a space element. So when a particular color represents the space element, the space has created the rest of the 4 elements. The space plus prana is air, air plus prana is fire, fire plus prana is water, water plus prana is earth. So now if we have a particular color, I'm not going so deeper, and there is no need at this time, but just giving you a reflex, just some reflection on that. That is what helps us to check whether we are into a deep meditative state. So whatever you have expressed is definitely right. That is all for today. We will go for next session on Thursday. Thank you very